What if the winter storm forecast you trusted is now dangerously wrong? New models just revealed that snowfall totals are set to be terrifyingly higher than anyone first predicted. We are now almost certain that this storm is a travel nightmare in the making. And the question is, are you in its path? A massive part of the Midwest and Great Lakes is now staring down a widespread blanket of 6 to 12 inches of snow. But that's just the start. The dangerous core of this system is winding up to deliver a knockout punch. Cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, Des Moines, and Grand Rapids, you are dead in the bullseye, where over a foot of crippling snow is now frighteningly possible. This gets worse in specific narrow bands where the heaviest snow will fall relentlessly, with rates exceeding a shocking 2 inches per hour. The most critical window is Saturday night into early Sunday morning. At those rates, plows won't keep up. And just as visibility drops to zero, powerful winds will take over. This is the scenario everyone fears. Blinding, blowing snow that will create near whiteout conditions at a moment's notice, making any travel not just dangerous, but potentially impossible. So how can you prepare? In the next few minutes, we are breaking down the critical intel from the last 24 hours that has changed everything about this storm and revealing why your area is now facing a much more significant threat. And believe me, we have a lot to cover because this isn't the only threat we're tracking. We're now watching 2 different monster winter storms set to slam the United States in the next 7 days. But first, we must confront the immediate danger. The one that starts tonight and rages all the way through Sunday. Let's dive into the timeline. Step 1. The calm ends tonight. Snow will begin to creep across the Dakotas and push into Iowa and Missouri. Don't be fooled by the light to moderate start. This is just the opening act. The real danger escalates while you're sleeping. Look at this map. This is right around midnight tonight. A full blanket of snow will have smothered all of Iowa. At the same time, northern Missouri, western Illinois, and southern Minnesota will see those first flakes begin to stick. This will cause some initial problems, but the true chaos, the part you cannot afford to underestimate, won't hit until Saturday. Don't miss this next part. By Saturday morning, this storm flips a switch. Notice these dark blue areas exploding across Iowa, Nebraska, and even reaching down toward St. Louis. This is the sign that snowfall accumulation is about to increase at an alarming speed. And remember that critical number I mentioned? Snowfall rates will spike to 2, maybe even 3 inches per hour, which means roads will disappear in minutes. But the absolute worst impacts, the peak danger for Iowa and Illinois, is set to arrive later Saturday morning. That's because the threat evolves. It's no longer just about heavy snowfall. Something else joins the fight. That's when violent wind gusts will begin to howl, whipping that heavy snow into a blinding frenzy, creating massive drifts and zero visibility. This is the deadly combination that unleashes the threat of near blizzard conditions squarely over Iowa and Illinois. And the timing couldn't be worse. It's a Saturday, a notoriously busy travel day. On top of that, Thanksgiving just ended, meaning the roads will be crowded with families trying to get home, potentially driving straight into a trap. This is all happening despite widespread winter storm warnings already blanketing Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Now, let's look at lunchtime. The snow will be at its absolute heaviest in these dark blue zones, hammering southern Iowa and plowing into central and western Illinois. This is the moment I warned you about, where those impossible snowfall rates could hit 3 inches per hour. But make no mistake, almost all of Iowa will be battling heavy snow all morning long. And what does that mean? It means the snow isn't stopping. It's just going to keep piling up. So how much are we talking? For parts of Iowa, we could see a jaw-dropping 18 inches in some spots. This is exactly how massive this winter storm is shaping up to be. And think about this. Over the last 3 years, the Midwest has had a pretty quiet run with major winter storms. This is absolutely going to be one of the most powerful storms in recent memory. Now let's track its movement into the afternoon hours. A significant portion of this snow is going to begin its relentless march to the east. But here's a surprising twist you need to watch for in the late morning and early afternoon. The entire snow band is going to start lifting north. Why is that happening? A huge surge of warm, moist air is rocketing up from the Gulf, which means if you're in places like St. Louis or anywhere in central and northern Missouri, you need to prepare for a dramatic transition from pure snow to a messy, wet snow and rain mix. That means any snow that has already fallen is about to turn into a heavy, sloppy slush in those regions. And here's a critical point I need to repeat. The northern and western edges of this storm are the danger zones. That's where the most crippling snowfall is going to hit. So by around 2 o'clock, expect incredibly heavy snowfall to be blanketing central and eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. And what about Chicago? The storm will really start to crank up there during the afternoon hours. Now, if you're up in Milwaukee or southern Wisconsin, the morning will be deceiving, starting off with just some light snow. But don't let your guard down, because by afternoon, that will intensify into a much more steady and moderate snowfall. The real accumulation will skyrocket during the afternoon and evening hours. As we get closer to sunset, around 4 to 5 o'clock, the bullseye for the heaviest snow will be centered directly over northern Illinois. By then, most of Iowa will see the storm easing up into lighter snow. Then, as we push into the evening, the storm system will spread out, throwing a massive blanket of snow over the entire Great Lakes region. And this thing has staying power. We're talking snow still coming down in Wisconsin, even as late as 10 o'clock tomorrow night. The same goes for northern Illinois. Indiana, Ohio, and you folks in northwest Pennsylvania, your turn is coming. Expect the snow to start flying around 10 o'clock tonight. But here's the next plot twist. This low-pressure system is about to hit the gas, speeding off to the northeast. But it's also going to start losing its punch. This means that any snow accumulation late Saturday evening and into Sunday is going to be far less dramatic than what the Midwest is about to experience. So for everyone watching in New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, I don't believe we're going to be dealing with a blockbuster snow event. However, you can't get complacent just yet. There will be some isolated areas that could get slammed with over 6 inches of snow from this system. And then as we head into late Sunday morning and the afternoon, most of the snow will finally begin to exit the United States. The only leftover snow will be lingering across northern New England and upstate New York. But wait, there's a parting shot. We're going to see some lake effect snow kick up on the back side of this, targeting western and northern Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. And that bonus round of snow could lead to an additional 3 to 6 inches. And just when you think winter has done its worst, you have to see what's lining up for Monday into Tuesday. A second powerful winter storm is already getting organized, threatening a path from the Central Plains all the way back to the Northeast. And we are going to break that down in just a moment. But first, the single biggest update in the last 24 hours has been a change in how much snow we are forecasting across the Midwest. And you need to see these new numbers. The Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast are all in the crosshairs. But here's the shocking part. The forecast has taken a huge turn for the worse. Are you prepared for a foot of snow? Because the latest National Weather Service forecast is now calling for a widespread 1 foot of snowfall. Yes, you heard that right. A solid foot of snow is expected across most of central and eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern and even central Illinois, and stretching into Michigan and Indiana. This is a massive escalation. Just yesterday, we were talking about maybe 6 to 10 inches of widespread snow. Now we're staring down the barrel of a widespread 9 to 15-inch bullseye, a range that completely changes the game for millions of people across the entire Midwest and the Great Lakes regions. But where will the absolute worst of it hit? The epicenter looks to be near Davenport, where I'm forecasting a staggering 14 inches. Just imagine, Davenport could be buried under 14 inches of heavy, wet snow. Milwaukee is also in that 14-inch club. Chicago, you're not off the hook. You're looking at 8 to 10 inches. And if you're over near Kalamazoo, you'll likely see about 10 to 12 inches pile up. For those in Indianapolis, I'm thinking around 5 to 6 inches. St. Louis, you're getting a bit of a twist. You'll only see a few hours of snow before it flips over to a cold, miserable rain in the afternoon. That transition means you'll likely only end up with around 3 to 4 inches, but don't get complacent because even then, it's going to be a heavy, slushy mess, which can be just as dangerous. Meanwhile, back in Sioux Falls, you're in for about 6 inches of snow. Let's zoom in on this beast. I want you to see exactly what you're up against in your specific town. I need to repeat this. These numbers are life-altering. That's why we're going live tomorrow, wall to wall, to cover every minute of this monster storm. We might even jump on for a special live Q&A session tonight right here on our channel. So here's what you need to do. Make absolutely sure you're subscribed with that notification bell clicked. You cannot afford to miss it when we go live. This isn't just a storm. It's a major weather event. We'll have boots on the ground with live storm chasers and cameras deployed across the Midwest, giving you a front row seat to every angle of this dangerous system. But hold on. What if I told you it could get even worse? Don't miss this next part. Let's look at another more extreme scenario from the HRR model. This is the same high-resolution model I showed you earlier with the future radar, but now we're looking at its shocking snowfall projections. It's painting a terrifying picture. It suggests isolated spots in Iowa and western Illinois could see 15 to 18 inches, with an unbelievable peak of nearly 22 inches just west of Des Moines. Let me be clear. That 22-inch scenario is absolutely on the table. This is your final warning to prepare for this historic winter storm. So, what does this mean for travel? If you are even thinking about getting on the roads in the next 24 hours, cancel your plans. I'm not just saying take it slow. I'm strongly advising you to stay off the roads entirely in the Midwest. We're already forecasting a very high probability of major, paralyzing travel impacts tomorrow, stretching from Chicago all the way to western Iowa and over to Omaha, Nebraska. Now, let's look at the official alerts. These are the latest watches and warnings directly from the National Weather Service. Look at all this pink. Those are winter storm warnings, the most serious alert. They cover nearly all of Michigan, most of Wisconsin, and Illinois. They continue through Indiana, Ohio, and blanket Iowa and Minnesota. And all that purple you see, those are winter weather advisories. That advisory corridor stretches from Montana all the way to northwest Ohio. The message is clear. You need to be ready for this. Step 1, get your flashlights ready. Why? Because I fully expect power outages tomorrow with the weight of this heavy, significant snow. And as for the roadways, I'll say it one last time. If you have any intention of traveling, stay home. But I have to ask, are you truly prepared for the danger that's coming? Because what I'm about to show you reveals just how treacherous the roads across the Midwest will be tomorrow. This isn't just a forecast. It's a warning map from the Weather Prediction Center, and it pinpoints the storm's most intense fury. Pay close attention to the red zones. These are the areas facing major, life-threatening travel impacts. The first danger zone stretches from Des Moines, cutting a path right through Davenport. And it doesn't stop there, engulfing northern Illinois near Rockford and putting Chicago and Milwaukee directly in the crosshairs for what could be a paralyzing shutdown tomorrow. Now look at the orange areas. That's a moderate threat, but don't be fooled. This zone of disruption extends from Omaha all the way east. It's a massive corridor of risk hitting Kalamazoo, threatening Grand Rapids in Michigan, and slicing through central Illinois around Springfield. And even if you're in the yellow, you are not in the clear. Minor impacts are still significant, and this warning covers most of Michigan. It also includes Ohio, central Indiana, including Indianapolis, and all the way down through St. Louis. So let me repeat the most important piece of advice you will hear today. If your travel is not absolutely essential, do not get on the roads tomorrow. It is going to be that dangerous out there. We're going to be covering this event live for most of the day, showing you exactly what it's like on the ground. The most dramatic footage is expected right around 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're subscribed with that bell icon clicked because you will want to be notified the second we go live with critical updates. But what if I told you this was only the beginning? Because this isn't the only winter storm we're tracking. A second, potentially more powerful storm is brewing, and it's set to strike in just a few days. Here's how the next monster takes shape. As we head into Monday afternoon, just a few days from now, two separate pieces of the puzzle begin to move. We'll have a surge of moisture coming from the Gulf clashing with another stream flowing over the Rockies. What happens when they meet? A chaotic mix of snow, possibly some freezing rain, and a cold, miserable rain will erupt across the Ozarks and through the Central Plains. And a truly sinister threat could emerge. Significant ice accumulation in Arkansas. This is deeply concerning. Why? Because Arkansas is a region that rarely sees this kind of ice, making the potential for disaster incredibly high. That could trigger major problems on Monday alone. But you can't miss the next part. Because as we push into Monday night and Tuesday, everything changes. This storm system explodes in size and becomes far more organized as these two powerful air masses finally collide. The result could be a widespread blanket of heavy snow stretching from Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma all the way across to Michigan and Ohio. But what's happening on the southern edge is just as terrifying. Right on that battle line between rain and snow, a treacherous ribbon of ice accumulation could form, potentially glazing over everything in Kentucky, Ohio, and even parts of Indiana, Illinois, Arkansas, and Missouri. This means we're staring down the barrel of a second round of major travel paralysis unfolding Monday night into early Tuesday. Then, on Tuesday, this winter storm reaches its peak fury. It grows even larger. And this is the window where we will likely see the most severe and widespread travel impacts across the board. The heaviest snowfall of the entire event is projected for Tuesday, specifically targeting Ohio and Pennsylvania. It will then charge into New York and all the way through New England, where it could become something we haven't seen in years, a legitimate, full-blown nor'easter on Tuesday. The entire weather world is holding its breath because we could be on the verge of our first major nor'easter in what feels like an eternity. We simply have not seen many nor'easters capable of producing this kind of widespread heavy snow. This system has the potential to become a major snowfall event with a widespread 12+ inches of snow squarely on the table. It's not a certainty yet, but it's looking more and more likely that we'll be dealing with a historic winter storm early next week. In our next video, we'll break down the brand new model data that could confirm it. Don't miss it. By the middle of next week, around Wednesday and Thursday, this system should be moving out. But the question is, what comes next? Because more snow is possible toward the end of next week. But it won't be anything like the widespread event we're about to see over the next 5 days. So what happens if this nor'easter becomes as powerful as the GFS model is currently forecasting? We could be looking at a situation where over a foot of snow is a real possibility for a huge area from Pennsylvania stretching all the way through central and northeastern New England. That puts places like New Hampshire, Vermont, and even western and northern Massachusetts directly in the crosshairs. But here's the twist. Look how sharp this cutoff is. It's the difference between a crippling snowstorm and getting almost nothing at all. This is a classic high-stakes nor'easter setup for New England, and it could all go down on Tuesday. But then you have the European model, which is telling a completely different story, showing a storm track much further south and with a lot less snow. It's painting a picture of a more manageable 3 to 6 inches of snow for most areas, with maybe some isolated spots seeing 8 to 12 inches. So we have two wildly different outcomes. Which one is going to happen? That's what we need to figure out. We are going to have a much more detailed breakdown for you this Sunday as the event gets closer. And we'll have all the details you need. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it. And speaking of big events, our Black Friday sale is happening right now at shopmaxvelocity.net. Just use the code BLACKFRIDAY to get $5 off any order of $50 or more, including our brand new top-selling cheese curd collection, which is, of course, named after my cat. We also have a ton of other cool designs, like our Happy Holidays and Supercell merch. You can check all of this out with the top link in the description below. We might even do a surprise Q&A live stream tonight to go over the latest details, but if not, we will definitely be live tomorrow. Just a heads up, there's no regular video tomorrow. So stay tuned for updates, and we'll see you all again in the next video or on the live stream.